name is Michelle White, and this is my tutorial on the social media widget. Now before we start to dig into the widget itself, it's really important that your profiles are hooked up in the social media application. So as you can see, you guys, I do sort of have a lot of Instagram and business and Facebook, and you can really have as many social media profiles as you want. Like I said, you can clearly see that I have a couple. But once you hook up the profile there, that's where you can come into the layout editor and then pull the profile and sort of configure that widget itself. So I'm just going to hit show zone preview just to sort of establish that I'm going to put the social media on the right side here of this layout. Now again, you guys, to kind of walk through those steps again, the first part is to create a zone, the second step is to add the widget, and then the third part is to style it. So let's go ahead and double click in. I'm going to hit add widget, and then I'm going to hit social media. Now most people, what they want is, they usually just don't want their Facebook to show. They'll want their Facebook and their Twitter and their Instagram. So I'm going to show you just a couple shortcuts of how you can customize one, but then copy that widget and sort of just switch the profile out. Again, so widget info, we can sort of skip this tab, and we're going to jump right into the social media settings. So again, just decide whether or not you're going to pull your Facebook, your Instagram. Again, for this tutorial, I'm just going to focus on the Facebook part and then select the profile. So we'll just go ahead and use the UCLA Student Union, the time zone. They are actually in California. Number of posts, you guys. So the max number of posts is 15. The way the widget works is that it updates every 10 to 15 minutes, and it is going to pull the latest post. Again, you guys, you can change this from 5 to 10, 10 to 15, but 5 is just the default. You can, again, keep this number. And then as a default as well, just to sort of explain these two buttons here, as a default, this is really what the template is going to look like. But if you only want the text or you only want the image, instead of having to go to the style tab and sort of remove all these, we call them selectors, and other maybe better words, maybe components, you can just kind of turn on one of these buttons and then just not have to worry about that. So that's just kind of like a nice little shortcut if you only want that information display. Otherwise, this is the default setting. So once you choose your template, so again, we have technically 4 templates, but again, the reason why I say 4 and you're only seeing 2 here is because the image only and the text only is considered, in our eyes, a new template. So technically there are 4 templates. All right, so let's go ahead and just do this as default, and then we're going to go into the style tab. Now, just to sort of all be on the same page here, this left side, the terminology we use in-house is called a selector. Any of my advanced users currently watching this tutorial, anyone who knows like CSS or HTML, you guys can add your own selectors. How do you do that? You will basically preview the widget, you'll do a right click, inspect it, and then you'll find the class. So if there's something in here where you're like, oh my gosh, I just really want to do something cool, like I don't know, I'm trying to think out loud, but I want to do something that the selector right here is not currently available. Again, I can just hit add selector, and I can clearly just drag it right in. We'll kind of walk through it, you guys, in just a sec. I'll kind of show you an example, but this is where you could change like the color. Again, the default color was blue, right, for the background. Maybe you want it to be this sort of teal green color. The header section, so the header, title bar, title text, title arrow, that's this part right here, okay? So we have the header, which is the white bar, we have the Facebook, and then we have the arrow. These 1, 2, 3, these 4 sort of selectors will focus on that. Image container, image, and image drop down. Again, that's going to focus on the image itself. Now, one question I always get asked a lot is, can I increase the photo? I want to make it larger. Sure, we can do that, but kind of keep in mind that when we start playing around with the image and all of a sudden we're increasing it, if you're posting small little thumbnails on like your Facebook, it's going to be really stretched out here. And so the way our widget works is that it's sort of kind of automatically configuring that photo. It's basically reading what size you're putting it in and sort of, I guess, adjusting by itself to that default size. So you kind of have to be careful when you're sort of messing around with these selectors. Then we have post body, post text, and hashtag. So those three selectors, of course, are dealing with this section right here. It's including the text that you're putting on your Facebook, your Twitter, your Instagram. So you can sort of obviously change the font size, the color, the hashtag. You can stylize all that. And then the last final part right here, it says footer section, footer line, logo, profile, date. That's this whole bottom section right here. So maybe you don't want the line. Maybe you don't really care to have your profile name. Maybe you want to change the font of the date and time. All those individual selectors are going to be right here. So let's just go ahead. Like I said, the only thing I've really changed is maybe the background, but let's just see what this looks like. All right, so as you can see, you guys, this is sort of that default color or default look of the social media. And again, I can come in here and sort of customize it. So as I was sort of stating earlier, I can actually add my own selectors. Again, simply what I did was I highlighted, I went into the inspect file, and these are all the individual selectors or classes that I can sort of add in. Now I'm just for this tutorial, I'm just gonna add this. It's already in there, but let's just, for this scenario, for me to explain this a little bit better, let's just say that this particular class wasn't in the widget. So again, what I can do is I'm doing Control-C, I'm copying it, and I can X out of here, and now I can go back into the Style tab. I'm gonna hit a plus sign, and again, I'll just say post text. I can give it a name that fits for me, and then I can just paste it in there. Now keep in mind that most of our selectors are classes, so you always want to put that sort of dot in between. What I encourage people to do too is actually put the div in front of it. That way, when you have multiple widgets, anytime you're sort of making a class on there, it's only for this Facebook or it's only for this Instagram. I understand. I apologize for sort of the users watching this and are kind of like, oh my gosh, Michelle, what are you talking about? It's totally all fine. I have to sort of create these tutorials for every sort of client's level. But this is how you would add that selector if there's something in here that you're not seeing. All right, and then of course you'd make your modifications here. You may have to put important, you guys, just because you may have to override some of the default classes that are established. Now, just to kind of go back, now that I kind of brought it to that other level, is kind of go back to our basic usage here. Let's say you style this Facebook and you're like, this is great, this is awesome. Now I want to add Twitter, but do I need to sort of redo all my styling? No, absolutely not. So how you can sort of create a little shortcut here is we would label this Facebook. And what we're going to do is we're going to copy this widget. So what it's doing, you guys, is that it's copying all the configuration you've done within here. And what we're going to do is we're going to hit OK, and we're going to paste it back into that zone. So luckily I only have 2 zones, so it was pretty easy to decide which one. And I'm going to hit yes. So now if I double click in here, I have 2. And this is where that labeling comes in such a great play, because again, visually I can just see it. So here was the one that you and I stylized, and then I copied all the styling I did and I applied it to the Twitter one. So all I need to do now at this point is basically just switch out my profile. So I go to Twitter, we do reach, we make sure that the post interval is at 180, and then if I want to change the template I can, but in this scenario, I'm really keeping all the styling that I wanted for my Facebook. So that's sort of a nice little shortcut within the social media. Actually, the shortcut is for any widget, but I would say it gets used most for the social media just because, like I said earlier, a lot of people want like Facebook and Twitter and Instagram to sort of cycle through in one zone. So that is sort of our little overview of the social media widget. If you guys have any additional questions, definitely give us a call or email us. Otherwise, I hope you guys have a great day. Thank you.